It's Skillet Sweet Potato Day, and this recipe is actually in our Food with Friends cookbook on page 26. It's also in our Holiday Sweets and Eats in the Farm Stand Favorites, but for those of you that have this cookbook, you can find this recipe on page 26, Skillet Sweet Potatoes. So I'm going to show how to do this today because there are followers that don't have our cookbooks, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So what you need here first is sweet potatoes. So just your regular sweet potatoes that you can pick up at the store. I have a couple peeled here, and so you just want to peel I just lop off the ends and then just peel your sweet potato. That's all you need to do for that. So first things first, we're going to add 6 tablespoons of butter to our skillet. Let's go ahead and get that in there. I usually always use an iron skillet to make these. You don't have to, but I guess I'm just used to doing it that way. So we'll go ahead and get this melted down here. 6 tablespoons of butter is the first thing you need. We'll just go ahead and melt it down. I'm using my handy dandy trusty hot plate today from the teardrop because I don't think we'll be teardropping now because it's like we skipped fall and went to winter. So we'll just keep the hot plate in here now. Okay, just about there on the butter. Go ahead and melt it down. Now we always make these at the holidays. Occasionally we make them other times, but always for Thanksgiving we make skillet sweet potatoes. And they're really easy to make and get so many rave reviews on these sweet potatoes. Okay, so there's our melted butter. Now we're going to add 1.5 cups of sugar, and that's just white sugar. So just go ahead and sprinkle that right in there. We make these from scratch, so my mom and I tried to come up with a recipe for these when we made the cookbook, the Food for Friends cookbook, and because we just dump things in and go for it on skillet sweet potatoes. So this is a 1/2 cup of milk. That's just a 2% milk there. So yeah, we're 6 tablespoons of butter, 1.5 cups of sugar, and 1/2 cup of milk. So just kind of blend those together a little bit. You don't have to knock yourself out on this, just kind of stir them together. And then we're just going to put a little bit of salt. Not a lot. This is kosher salt, so you can use a little more of that than table salt, but you don't need a lot of salt, just a little bit. Okay, so we'll let that do its thing there. And I'm going to take these sweet potatoes and I'm just going to cut them into chunks. About 1 inch. You want them to be about 1 inch chunks, and then you just set them right down in the skillet. And try to make your slices all about the same size. I know when you get to the end, you're not going to be able to because you're going to have that little piece there, but that's fine. And that way, they all cook evenly when you get them all the same size. So you just put all those in the skillet. And you can use a bigger skillet. If you got a bigger crowd to cook for, you can certainly make a big skillet of these. We always have so many things to cook on Thanksgiving, so we don't make a tremendous amount of it because we have to eat everything. So we just we'll make a little more than this, but. So then you could get even a few more in there. You can pack your skillet full of sweet potatoes. So then what you do here is, now you do want to tend to these a little bit. Start out letting this get to a boil with these sweet potatoes in there. Let it get to a boil and then reduce your heat to a simmer. And then you do want to tend to them a little bit. Always come around and do this and turn them. Once they get cooked for a little bit, go ahead and give them a turn and just keep doing that. And then what's going to happen with this is it's going to completely reduce down. Almost like when you make candy and you get to a softball stage, that's exactly what happens to these. You're just candy putting candy on the sweet potatoes. Is basically what you're doing. But they just cook down really great, and I'm gonna show you guys what they look like. I'm gonna go ahead and move this one over here, and I'll bring the one that we got done. And I want you to see how these turn out. Now this, and you want to cook them for about 30 minutes. It comes out to about 30 minutes. But see if you can see here what happens to these. They just completely cook down. And then you end up with this kind of a sauce. It's just a brown butter candy syrup. And then these are just fork tender. Just make sure that your sweet potatoes are just fork tender. See, that just goes all the way down. So those are perfectly done. Now you could serve them right from a nice iron skillet, or you could put them in a dish and then just pour your syrup right over them. But these here are completely done. And then I have to get just a little bit of this yummy stuff. And see, when you put those in your dish and then you just put the sauce all over them, and they're really delicious. Let me cut one here for you so you can see that. See there? It's just perfectly done, and then you got all this yummy sauce right here. And they're really delicious. We've shared this recipe thousands of times over the years. Everybody loves it. It's very easy to make. We think you should make it for Thanksgiving. And I'm gonna go ahead and have some. So make some skillet sweet potatoes. We'll post the recipe.